So the other day I got a comment on my video where somebody challenged me to make a video with no mission, no philosophy, just pure methodology. And unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to push back because mission and philosophy is part of what I do. But I can make a video where I just offer methodology wrapped up in the mission and the philosophy that guides everything that I do. So yeah, today grab a book, grab a pen, take down some notes because I'm gonna take you through 6 steps to help you build a profitable YouTube channel in 2026. Number 1, decide what you want. If you don't know what you want, it becomes very difficult to build a roadmap, to build a path towards something that feels meaningful to you. And many of us, including myself, I spent a long time not fully knowing what I wanted because I would just kind of like not really think about it. And we end up with a mind full of weird thoughts that are just like, oh, I just want this, I just want that, da, da, da. And we have like a million things that we want. You can't have everything you want, but you can have anything you want, as long as we know what it is. So when we can get crystallized on what the actual thing is that we really want from life, it becomes a lot easier to move towards that. And the reason that this is important is because the YouTube channel will be the vehicle that actually gets you there. It'll be a combination of the dream future, because you actually have this incredible business where you're building a YouTube channel, where you're serving people and all that sort of stuff. But it also ends up being the profitable solution to resolving your main conflict, which is the lack that you're experiencing right now from not actually living out your dream future. So if you don't know what you want, if you struggle to figure out what you want, just tune into what it is that you feel like you're missing in your life right now. I call this a why behind the why. So we have the why, and then we have the why behind the why. This is the more selfish, more personal reason that lives behind your own personal transformation. So if you are looking to change your life, if you're looking to build a channel, something that's profitable, that can actually move you towards your vision, then you need to get clear on what that personal why behind the why is. And this is your biggest struggle. This is your biggest lack. This is your biggest conflict. This is your biggest desire. And I don't talk about desire in a surface level sense. I don't give a shit about the surface level stuff, the Instagram stuff, the way you get fooled into thinking that you need all this sort of stuff. It's more just the core desires that we need for ourselves, for our families, to live a sustainable, meaningful life. Trying to get everything spread your energy too thin. If you choose one thing you deeply want, you can direct your time, effort, and resources towards it. So with that in mind, anything becomes achievable when you stop chasing everything. In other words, your desires aren't the problem. Lack of clarity and scattered focus is. So the first step is really getting clear on what that is. Think about it, tune into it, get your little pad and paper out, write some shit down, and write down what are the things that I'm struggling with most right now? What is the biggest lack that I'm experiencing? What don't I have? What do I keep saying, if I just had this, everything would be so much better? And simmer it down, use first principles thinking to get down to the real core of what it is that you are lacking most. And when you can figure that out, you'll see that there's a desire attached to it. There is something, you can begin to see a life where you no longer have that sense of lack. And you can start to build a vision around that. And once you get clear on what that vision is, you're then clearer to understanding what it is that you actually want from life. And then you can actually build a roadmap, a step-by-step process to get there. And your YouTube channel becomes the exact path to do that. So what I talk about here on this channel is using your own personal experience, the path that you've lived, the insights that you've discovered, the skills that you've developed, the transformations that you've been through. This becomes the most valuable thing that you have, because when you can see that you've gone through a life, you've gone through an experience which was completely helpful for you, that helped you move through your own pains, your own struggles, your own conflicts, and you moved through a process where you went through a transformational experience, and you're on the other end of that, there will be other people out there that will want to learn from you. So this is the core of your channel. This is the value that you bring. If you don't have any value to offer, it becomes very difficult to create a profitable channel. In order to create profits, there needs to be value. So there needs to be a value that people will actually pay for. So getting clear on that is super important. This is a huge part of what it is that I do with my clients in my program and all that sort of stuff, is actually helping people get clear on what that is. So once we understand what that value is, once we understand what that transformational experience is, once we can get clear on our own origin story, of the story that took us through that process, then we actually have a map to start figuring out our mission. And our mission is a combination of who we serve, what they're struggling with, and the transformation that they're looking to go through. And the reason why our own personal transformation is important for this is because that points directly to all three of those things. So our own transformation points to the next step, which is identifying your person. One of the most important things for a channel in 2026 and moving forward is actually knowing who it is that you're speaking to. So one of the most important things for building a profitable channel in 2026 is knowing who it is that you're speaking to. If you don't know who you're speaking to, it becomes very difficult to create content because it becomes out of a line. You want everything to be in alignment. And the best way to discover who it is that you're speaking to is thinking about who the person was before you move through that transformation. When you're speaking from your own direct experience, when you're speaking from your own transformation, you are very closely related to that one person that you're speaking to. You know that person intimately well because you've been through it. You know exactly what they want. You know the exact struggles that they're feeling. You understand the emotions, you understand the pain, the desires, what it is that they want, because you once wanted that and now you have it. You're on the other side of it. You've built this roadmap that takes them through it. So once you can get clear on who that person, it becomes a lot easier to actually speak to that person, because every single one of your videos speaks to that person. So now that you've gotten clear on what you want, the dream life that you have, the transformational experiences that you've been through, the value that you have to offer, you've recognized that there is a person which is intimately linked to you and your experience because you've been through that, you know that person deeply well. Now you need to understand if there's actually any demand for this transformational experience that you want to take people through. The best way to do this is just do some research. Find some other creators in this space on YouTube. Look for people that are doing a similar thing. Are there people out there that are helping people move through the same thing? Go study their channels. Look at what they're doing. If you can see that there's demand because there are people already doing things in alignment with what it is that you want to do, then you know that there is demand for that. So the thing that makes you unique is your lived experience, it's your origin story, because there's nobody been through the exact process that you've been through. So you now need to figure out how to tell the story, how to actually move people through this experience in a way which is unique to you, which is unique to your own worldview, your own philosophy, your own mission, all this sort of stuff. And you speak to that person from that. And that's what makes you one of one. You want to get yourself into a position so that you become one of one, because when you're one of one, nobody can compete with you. Even though you might take somebody through a similar sort of transformation, it's the way that you take them through that transformation which makes you unique. Now that we know there's demand, we know there's people out there that are interested in the kind of thing that we want to bring, we need to now start creating content based on the transformation that we've been through and the person that's looking to move through that. And the way that we do that is, again, we go back to our own origin story. We go through our own transformational experience and we start to build out our own roadmap. We build out our own method, the exact process that took us through this experience, because that becomes the most valuable thing that you can offer to that person. And you don't give it away all in one video because that becomes overwhelming. You need to give it away in steps, in digestible steps, micro transformations that helps them move through this process. While you do that, you share more about your origin story. You share more about your mission. You share more about your values. Because when you do this, when you start to speak more deeply and more closely to the emotional experience that you've been through because of your particular worldview, then you start to share more about yourself and your own mission and your movement and everything else that comes with it. And this is kind of what starts to separate you from everything else. If you're just taking people through the method, like I was asked to do in this comment, then it becomes clinical. Then we begin to lose the person that sits beneath it. And if you, the person that's delivering the message, doesn't matter, then AI is going to do your job for you. So the thing that makes this really important, and the reason why I politely pushed back on the comment on my video saying to leave out the mission, leave out the philosophy, is because this is what separates me from anyone else that's doing what it is that we're doing here in this space. So you need to lean into this. And if people don't like it, that's okay. You're not going to be able to speak to everyone. So the way in which we actually take our transformation and build into into ideas is think about all of the tiny little conflicts, the little struggles that you went through along the way. Each one of those conflicts is another idea for a video. So each video then needs to become focused on that particular conflict, and you take people through a transformation with every single one of those videos. Every single video should have a format, we actually take people through that process. So this is how you actually come up with ideas, because you're not just trying to like find trending ideas and all that sort of stuff. Your ideas are actually coming from the experience that you've been through. This is why I keep saying the most valuable thing that you have is your own experience. And when you can extract that and turn it into a blueprint, and you know that there's somebody else out there that's looking to move through a similar type of thing, coming up with ideas is a lot more easier because you know them. You know that person intimately. You can speak to those values. You can speak to the emotions. You have understanding, empathy, and compassion. All of this stuff comes through your work. This creates connection. So now that you've started making all these videos, you're creating all this connection, you're helping people move through these micro transformation, you start to see it in the comments. People start to thank you. You start to hear people saying, I feel like you're speaking directly to me. I feel like you know me so intimately well. How is it that you're saying the exact things that I'm thinking about? It's because I know you. I know you because I've been through what it is that you're looking to go through. So this becomes a crucial part of how it is that you build community, because it's all coming through. The whole story comes through. So what we need to be doing here is now that we actually have people coming into our channel, now that we have people watching our videos, we have people making comments and all this sort of stuff, you need to start responding and start communicating, because these people are the people that actually comment. You might have 10,000 views on a video and you might get 200-300 comments. Those people that took their time to write those comments are the people that are going to be most invested in what it is that you do. So you need to make sure that you're communicating with these people. Communicating, show that you actually care, because you do, because you've been through the transformational experience. So we need to start making these connections. And this creates the engagement, and this creates more of a community. And to take it a next step further, every single video of mine has a call to action. It takes you into my school community. If you haven't joined it, I'll leave a link in the description below. And in this community, you can take people off of YouTube into a platform where this community now becomes more close. It's your community now. YouTube, you don't own your community. Cool thing about having school is on the way in, you can also grab emails. And when you grab emails, you can then begin to speak to people in their inboxes. YouTube attracts the people that need you, and email guides them to your offer. And I was always somebody that pushed back against emails. I was like, I never open an email. It's just not what I do. Who cares about emails and stuff like that? But the more I've used email and the more I've begun to understand the power of email, it's a no-brainer. You've got to have some form of email capture as well. If you want to create a profitable YouTube channel, you need to have something. You need to have some sort of mechanism where you can actually grab an email from somebody. But if you have a way to actually opt them into an email by offering something of value, you'll see people do, free courses, or they might do like a PDF. I chose a school community because I like community. I think it's the most valuable thing that you can offer for free. I think it's incredible. So you have another place for community to build, like my community. It's incredible. Everyone's helping each other out. I'll jump in there a few times a week as well to offer input, offer guidance, all that sort of stuff. And it's an incredible place to just take it that extra step further. And then after a while, once you start to build community, once you start to build connection, you start to build relationships, because you've now started to build trust, because you've been sharing stuff which is actually valuable for people, actually helping people move through this thing that they want to move through. And when you do that, your whole system starts to make sense. So I chose a complete organic process. I haven't used one ad. I built this channel up from 0 to almost 20,000 subscribers in 10 months. I've built an incredible business now where I run a 90-day program, which is awesome, unbelievably awesome. And this all came from what I said in that first step, getting a clear vision for what it was that I wanted. I had a deep conflict, which was my work. The work that I was doing in the film industry started to slow down. I started to struggle. I had a family to support. I needed to find a way. So the vision for the future was one where I was not going to be in this unsustainable system anymore, where I couldn't predict my income. So I needed to find a way to predict my income without losing my soul. How am I going to do that? I started to think about a roadmap. I built this whole thing. I built this whole channel. Everything that I've done came from that first step. And everything that I've just said is exactly what I've done in order to do this whole process. Now, this is just 6 steps. There's a lot of different things that we need to be thinking about when building out a YouTube channel or a profitable YouTube channel. There are many different things that you need to learn, and it's not going to come overnight. Everyone is shouting on the internet saying, like, if you just do this, your whole life is going to blow up and change, and you'll become a millionaire. It's bullshit. If you're going to get into the space, understand that it's a long game. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in weeks. It's not going to happen in months. You've got to build this thing up slowly. You can't just jump in and think it's just going to change your life immediately. It can, but that's not necessarily going to be the case. It took me 6 months of building completely for free every single week, giving away as much value as humanly possible. I started doing one-to-ones with people before I launched my channel, but it took me 6 months to feel ready, where I felt like I had enough knowledge, I had enough data from my community, from speaking to people, from doing one-to-ones and all that sort of stuff, to get to a point where I recognized I actually did have something of value, and there were people out there that were interested. So that is the 6 steps to building a profitable YouTube channel. I hope that methodology worked out well for you. I hope you did get your pen and paper out and write down some notes, and I really hope that this is going to be of value to you. I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments if this has been helpful. Let me know what else you want to know. Let me know where in the process you are. And again, like I said in the beginning, I do have a school community. It's called The Really Real. Come find me. I look forward to seeing you there.